Carolyn.
Q.
And Kat. And we are the you're supposed to say it with me.
No.
The FaithJustice Fellows.
Kat's the extrovert.
Jazz hands. So here we are, live and in video for our February installment of our blog turned vlog.
No.
If you're wondering what it's like living with me, this is it. Accurate representation. So it's Ash Wednesday. I promise I got ashes, but I went to the gym and then I showered, so they're gone.
Which we're grateful for.
I think we want to talk to you guys about like Ash Wednesday or reflection on this day, because according to Carolyn, it's not a holy day obligation, but it's an important day, and maybe share. It's what, Wednesday now, obviously. Maybe share a piece of wisdom you gained through your journey thus far in terms of like fellowship.
So this was not my first Ash Wednesday. My first Ash Wednesday was during my sophomore year of college. And I was telling them earlier, Kat might edit in the video now, of how I was super excited when I went for my first time. I was like, I finally made it in my faith. I'm getting ashes. I'm a big girl. Like, wow, look at me go. I was so excited to have my ashes on my forehead and like be able to tell people like, look, I have faith. I go to church. Yep, exciting. And I went and I'm sitting there during the homily, and it was Father Philip Neary, and he pretty much shut down everything I had in my head, saying how it's not meant, how the church is calling us not to go out and be boastful and be like, wow, I'm the best Catholic. But on Ash Wednesday, these ashes aren't a symbol for anyone else except for ourselves. They're meant to remind us that we are sinners and that we are, that our earthly possessions here are just that, they're earthly possessions. When it comes to the future and afterlife, it really matters about what we've done and what our soul has done and what our heart is. And it doesn't really matter anything, but what is true about everyone here on earth is that we're all sinners. And that's what these ashes are to remind you of. I'm wearing them here to tell every one of you that I'm a sinner too. A lot of my students at Rider, I found out after the first few months, thought I was a perfect Catholic. So that was a fun meeting to have to explain to them, yeah, I'm your campus minister, but by no means does that make me a perfect Catholic. I'm right there with you, struggling with sin, struggling with this journey in faith. And that's what Ash Wednesday is really about. So today, being able to have over 100 people show up to my services on campus, which for some people you might be like, wow, you only got 100. We started with 0 in September, so 100 is huge. But yeah, having them all come and get to share that little bit of wisdom with them and remind them that I'm there to help them on this journey and I'm there walking with them. So I got my ashes in front of everyone because I helped distribute the ashes. So it was kind of a cool experience to go up there and literally be marked as a sinner in front of all the people I'm there serving this year.
I grew up going to Catholic school, so ever since kindergarten we would go to Ash Wednesday services, and we would always joke when we got back to the pews, we'd be like, let me see your shape, does mine look like a cross? And we'd be like, no, yours looks like a thumb.
Hashtag.
But it really wasn't until I went away to college that in general my faith really became my own, but also more specifically about Ash Wednesday and Lent, and what Lent means. And I started thinking more about not what I was going to give up, be it chocolate or sweets or picking my nose.
Did you do that one year?
Yeah, I did. When I was in second grade. First grade. I was way too old to still be picking my nose, and I gave it up for Lent. And there it goes, broke the habit. I really started to think less about what I was going to give up for Lent and more so about what I was going to do for other people. I'm excited to be going on this Lenten journey this year with my fellow fellows. And I have my little Lenten journal that I'm going to be writing in each day and reflecting on. And it'll be interesting to be going through Lent now and where I am in my faith journey now and as a professional, and not being surrounded by the Catholic school community that I've had my entire life, even in undergraduate. So I'm excited and looking forward and a little bit nervous, but ultimately excited.
So this is my first Ash Wednesday. This is going to be my very first Lent season. Yeah, listen. Shout out to Change Church, because I walked in there. If you ever see this binder, shout out to CSC. This is the business binder, meaning anything pertaining to my spiritual life is hidden in there, where it is devotions, Bible studies, or just simply things like that. I like Ash Wednesday, so you guys were talking about earlier. We didn't catch it on film, but I call it golden text, but you guys like homilies or whatever? Mm-hmm. All right, there we go. I'm learning, not Catholic, Christian, but the whole world. Ours came from Luke 15:11, and that was with the prodigal son. And Sean broke down basically these principles that stuck out to me that he said, but the title of tonight's sermon was like Stop and Look. Mm-hmm. And there was this young man named Malik that he talked about like months ago. And Malik was going through his battle with cancer. And Sean asked everyone to pray for him. And, he felt but definitely Malik would be healed. And Malik was healed. Doctors gave up on him. And he ended up being discharged out of the hospital. But then, as he's 18. So as chemotherapy and things like that are not necessarily the easiest thing to go through at any age. Mm-hmm. So Malik opted out to treatment. But then Sean informed us that today he actually utilized Malik. But however, before that, Malik said, I want to read it because it's so good. Malik wanted people to know to don't allow other people to give up on you when God hasn't, he wanted people to know that God took him through a different experience to help him understand who he was. Not only who Malik was as an individual, but more so about who God was in Malik's life. He said during that time being in the hospital, you can imagine that's the last place you really want to be living your life when you're that age. But for him, he said that's where he felt like he felt God the most, and he learned from him the most. And something that Sean talked about is, I don't know if you ladies heard about this in church, but you hear about our mountains and our valleys. Mm-hmm. And we always associate our valleys with the dark, deep, depressive state, and the mountain is pretty much where we want to be. But Sean put it in a different perspective tonight when he talked about how in our valleys is where we have valleys so that we are connected to God. Where we have that intentional time to connect with God more intimately. And I'm not necessarily saying that this Lent season for me will be a valley, but I will learn how to operate in my valley, right? Because when I get to the mountaintop, a real piece of wisdom that I gained today, I'm really skipping around, but it's connected. A real piece of wisdom that I gained today is that the journey is the reward, not the destination. Because for me, I actually finished writing for grad school today.
Congratulations! Yes, too.
But anyway, before you go, I just wanted to hit you with these 3 principles that he talked about. The first one is premature decisions have a long-term consequence. Mm-hmm. And it says that a blessing without proper timing is ultimately a curse. Mm-hmm. Right? Soak that in, y'all. Soak that in, okay? The second one is pivotal moments cause permanent turns. I'm still dissecting that one. I don't really know what that means yet. But valleys, here's the point that I was making earlier. Valleys are for you to get closer to God. Mm-hmm. And then the last one, he equated to some people, this exists. So let's state that this exists. Some people have some people have spouses who are not as into the church as we would say, as they may have been, or there's some parents who have children who might not get this whole salvation thing and might not find church very amusing and appealing to their lives. But Sean was simply saying that the third point is for us to prepare a place worth coming home to. And I felt like that was so key because he related back to the prodigal son. When the prodigal son knew that when he was at the pivotal point, after he spoiled his riches, after he needed to go out and ask for help, and after he got to that point where he felt like he wanted to eat the slop that he was feeding to the pigs, he knew that he needed to go home because what he had at home was way better than anything else he saw out there, even though he squandered that. But it was the connection, the point that no matter where you're at, no matter how far you feel from God, he's not that far from you. And just experiencing this first Ash Wednesday, I'm pretty excited about this Lent season. Like for like 40 days, I was like, now listen, I don't even know what I'm fasting from, but I know I'm doing something. It's always been in place. But every day we'll have a gift, and I'm glad you're doing your Lent devotion. What are you doing?
For Lent?
Yeah, like how are you? What are your...
You'll find out.
Okay, great.
What does that mean?
You'll find out.
I don't question anymore. I just said
Question. Do Sundays count?
yes.
And
Are you asking me as my faith? Like, what are you asking?
like you as your faith. Like, does your faith teach that Sundays are a freebie from your Lenten fasting?
No.
Does our faith
wasn't
teach
aware.
that? I feel like that's just a my mom thing.
No, and I've been told that by priest and the deacon today. Because if you count out the days from Ash Wednesday, it's actually
Sundays.
44 if you count Sundays. If you take out the Sundays, it's 40. So
Okay.
Sundays are supposed to be a day of rejoicing always and a day of rest. So the Catholic Church at least teaches that in the Sunday, that is your day to, like if you give up sweets, to have sweets. Because you're supposed to be rejoicing and resting on the Lord's Day.
Another thing I'm doing for Lent is I am giving up saying sorry for things that I'm not
I did that a few years ago.
sorry for. So when I'm running late or I don't answer an email right away or something, instead of saying, I'm so sorry, I'm going to say, thanks so much for your patience. So hopefully that becomes a habit that will stick, because I think
Like picking your nose, not picking your nose.
not picking my nose. I think so much in today's society, especially as women, we are societally told, and it's ingrained in us, that we need to constantly be in a state of apology, and we don't.
One thing I can do, can tell you right now, is I gave up like sugary things. So I told Kat, other than breakfast cereal, because I need something.
But only before 11 a.m.
10
Oh,
a.m.
10 a.m.
10 a.m. I'm allowed breakfast cereal because I've given up sweets in the past and not counted breakfast cereal. And then all of a sudden it was 11 p.m. and I was eating a bowl of cereal. So it doesn't quite work. But I've given up anything that's really like added sugar other than breakfast cereal before 10.
So even though I don't know what I'm fasting from, I know I'm getting an increase I'm getting I'm getting an increase in my relationship with God, like already. Like some people would say I'm going to the gym more, but I'm already doing that. Some would say fasting from sweets, right? Listen, I know me. Progress is key. Progress is key. But my desire and hope is that I grow with God through this Lent season. And also for the two of you, that you grow with God in your faith.
And all of you.
And all of you.
Happy Lent, y'all!
Yeah.